Okay, so today's video is going to be the install on the front fender flares for the XJ. We're also going to get into the rears, but they'll be a little bit later. So the first thing you have to do when putting these fender flares on is, on the driver's side, you're going to have to remove your windshield washer fluid holder. And there's two bolts. There's one here right by the cap. And this filler neck just pulls on right on out. So you pull that out first. You can get this bolt. They're both 8mm, and then there's one down here. I'll show you where they're at on the compartment in here. So the first one is right here, and then the second one is down underneath your computer under here. So it's a little bit hard to get to, but you have to take both those out, and then it just slides right out. So after you get that out, what you're going to want to do is you're going to cut along this edge. You could go up to this next one, but the reason we don't do that is because if you leave this little bit of a lip, it keeps it from flexing as much. So if you hit something, this lip will help it keep a little bit of strength. But if you have to, you can take it up to this second lip here and cut it straight off. You can see I started cutting it here. I'm just gonna go around and I'm gonna cut this lip the whole way up through here, all the way down around. So after I get that done, I'll get back to you and show you the next step. Okay, so after you go through and you cut out your lip, I have my lip all cut out. I cut it to right here, and then I just, every 1 inch I sliced in and I just folded those tabs in. You could just cut it off, but it keeps it a little bit stronger there if your tire would hit it in turn. So after you, also you're gonna have to, if you have molding on the side like this Jeep does, you're gonna have to pop this molding off or it'll be in the way of the fender flare. So after you go through and you get all that done, what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold this, the edge of this fender flare up to this body line. This body line you're gonna go off. So you put that up there and mark your top holes. Go through and mark your top holes, drill them out. And then after you get these ones started, you're gonna go through and do each one of them afterwards on the bottom. I'll get this up and I'll come back to you with the next step. Okay, so I went ahead and I got my first two bolts started. I got one here on the end and one here on the end. You're gonna need a 5/16 drill bit, and I would recommend you start those two first, just so you get everything, you get the body line where you want it. For these button heads, you're gonna need a 1/2 inch wrench and a 3/16 Allen head to put these in. You can get in here at all these pretty good on the inside of the fender. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it too well, but there's lots of room in there, all the way up through to get all your bolts in. You know, just watch when you're drilling. You don't want to go too far. As soon as it goes through, just be careful with it. But I'm going to get the rest of these bolts in and we'll get you a shot of the finished product. Okay, so I went ahead and I got the fender flare, the rest already bolted on. One thing I did want to say though is after you get these two bolts started, do not only drill these first two. If you go and mark them and drill them, you might end up having to drill more holes, and you're just gonna put extra holes in that you don't need. So put these two in, these top corners, and then come down and put the bottom corner and this other bottom one, and then these bottom two, and that'll suck it in, and you'll be able to put the rest of them in no problem. But yeah, there it is. Looks pretty good on this Jeep. Okay, so the rear fenders flares for the XJ are pretty similar to the install video we did for the front fender flares. There's just a little bit different things you got to do here. So in the front, you cut this whole lip out, and the reason for that is there's no inner fender on the front on the fender. But this one, there's actually a pinch seam here where the inner fender and the fender connect. So what you got to do is you got to go around. Went right off of this corner, and that's going to be your first cut. Same thing with this corner back here. And you're going to go about every inch and then cut these straight up to the seam here. After you go through and you cut them up, you're gonna bend them all in. Just bend them back as far as you can. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna cut them, and then I'll get you a better look at what I'm talking about. Okay, so I went up through and I cut on all my marks, but just with the cutting wheel up to this seam. After you cut all your marks, all you got to do, just start in the bottom corner and just slowly fold these in. Fold those in the whole way around. Most of this is going to be covered up. The fender flare goes right to the edge of this lip, so I mean you're not really going to see it, but you can fold them in pretty far. It's pretty rotted out down here, so I just cut that off. It's not really a big deal. I'm going to go through and bend all these in, get my fender flare lined up, and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I went through and I beat up all these tabs. If you want to get in there, give me a closer look at them, just underneath. Just bend them all up as far as you can. If you notice there's a little bit of paint missing, if you're really worried about it, just take a piece of cardboard and go along there and spray it with whatever color you want. So after you get all those folded up and you're ready to put the flare on, you have to come to the back of the Jeep and you're going to have to take out your a little bit of a couple of your interior pieces. Just this one here. There's just 6 Phillips heads in that. That comes off, and then on this side, on both sides, you pop the panel off. Just lay it over there on the seat. I'll pop this one off for you. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts in them, and then there's one pop here. So just take it, throw it up over. That way you can get in there. Once you start drilling your holes, you'll be able to get in there and put your bolts and nuts on. Okay, I'll get back to you. Okay, so we got this one bolted up. It's pretty much the same way. You're gonna bolt them up the same way as you do the front. You're gonna mark this hole and this hole each in the top corner. Mark them. Make sure you have your body line right here. This is what you're gonna go off of. So hold it up there, use a marker and mark that hole, and mark this hole, drill them out, 5-30 seconds. So get those 2 started, and then once again, come back through and get the bottom, get these bottom 2. And then this one over here, what you're gonna have to do to get that one is there's a T15 Torx bit holding that vent in. Just pop that vent out. Pop that vent out and you can get in there to get the bolt and that on. The driver's side is a little bit different because you have your fuel filler neck here. There is 3 holes here that are going to come with a squeeze nut. It's going to be these bottom 3 on the flare. So you're going to drill these holes out to 1/2 inch. And then that'll come with these squeeze nuts, and they'll go in. We have a video on how to put the squeeze nuts in. But other than that, I mean, it's all the same as the other side. That's the only thing different. There's a vent on this side you're gonna have to pop out to get this corner bolt in, just like the other side. Oh boy. But other than that, it's same as the other side, so it's not too bad. Thanks for watching.